Welcome, everybody. We are so excited to be here with you, Kim Basler and myself, Kellyanne Appleton. And this is Raw and Unscripted. And we could not be more excited about this collaboration that we are beginning today.
So excited to be here with you, Kellyanne, and to everybody that's tuning in. This is our first episode, as Kellyanne has mentioned, and we're just taking a second here to, share it out onto our social feeds and encourage you to do that as well. Because the reason we're going to talk today, this is our first episode, and we're going to let you know it'll be a shorter one today, but we're definitely trying to keep them around, that 30-minute window because we know that life keeps us on our toes all the time. But yeah, we want to talk today about, why we chose to do this together, where it has been inspired from, the name of the podcast, and, some of the things that you can expect to receive from us, learn from us. And this podcast is about us offering you inspiration, hope, things to uplift you, and both of us have been on our own personal journeys, and that's why we're so passionate about sharing this information out. So we're excited to have you along with us.
We have been, Kim and I kind of brought this idea to life because we are both what I call seekers. We have been on personal development journeys and have learned a lot ourselves, teach the people that we work with because we are both coaches, but wanted to share this maybe to a larger audience because so much of the things that we're going to talk about don't get talked about. I am somebody who loves to talk about important things. I'm not a small talker. I love to share important conversations, and that's what this is going to be about. There are not enough important conversations being had, and there are so many important things to talk about that have been kind of kept secret or kept hidden, things that we weren't supposed to talk about. And we want to bring those things into the light. We want to eliminate maybe the shame, the fear, all of the things that go with keeping those things hidden. So that's what we're here to do.
I love it. And yeah, these are, some of these conversations are going to be exciting, and some of them are going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, right? Because I think both of us, I can probably speak for you too, Kellyanne, that this surface level conversation, how's the weather, and what's new in your life, and those typical responses of how are you, and somebody says fine, or making it through the day, alive another day, we want to shake things up, because when you shake things up, when you talk about the things that you need, like when you ask for help, when you go deeper than that surface level, we are able to create change in our lives. We're able to get through another day with a little bit more hope and possibility. So we're going to have some fun. So let's talk. I know, and every week we're going to sort of build this out. But I will say that Kellyanne and I met each other through a wonderful coach. I will drop her name, Marcia Van Weinsberg. We are both having stories, and we are both here to work together because we knew right away that our connection and the things that we speak about are important to us. Kellyanne and I bonded, and we both start our names with K, so that just made sense too. But let's talk about, I remember the day, Kellyanne, when we were meeting in Zoom and we were thinking, what are we going to call this podcast? We knew what we wanted to talk about and the themes that we wanted to talk about. It was how do we come up with a title, right? That's sometimes the thing that holds us back, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And I think we didn't want something that was going to be scripted. We wanted it to flow. We wanted to be able to just bring our own experiences, our own knowledge and wisdom, and to just kind of combine it in a way that we know and we trust will land for the most people. So I think this is very much this podcast is very much about trusting that the things that come out between our conversation are going to be the things that are meant to be heard by the people listening. I fully believe that, and I know you do too.
Yeah, it's that leaning into trust, right? Because when we're talking like this and we're literally speaking like directly from our hearts, the conscious brain, the brain that wants to keep us protected, the brain that wants to say the right thing, it doesn't have a chance, right? Like the words are just spewing from my mouth right now. And it is that ability to trust in ourselves. And so, sometimes I know me, like sometimes I just say something and I'm like, ooh, like that maybe didn't come out the way I wanted it to, or wow, I've never shared that before and I've just done it publicly. Right? But it is that piece of trust. And I will also say, Kellyanne, I think it's also about us both using this belief in ourselves to continue to find our voices, right? Like we're both in different stages of our journey of using our voice, of trusting our voice. And this, we're calling this podcast Raw and Unscripted, and there is a vulnerability to that for both of us. We were just talking about that before we went live, that we're both a little bit nervous, and nerves are good. And I will drop a little nugget here that fear is the same energy as excitement in our body. So it's like we can have them both. And I always say, like, fear is going to come along, but we don't let it drive us. It's like, yeah, you can be here, because fear is often just trying to protect us on some level, but we're excited because we know how impactful the work that we do has been for us, for the people that we work with, and we know that more people need it in the world. So it's up to us to do that, Kellyanne, to send that information out, eh?
You're right. And yes, I am very nervous. Kim, you have spoken many more occasions than I have. But there's definitely, and one of my limiting beliefs that I have been working on for a long time is that trusting my voice. And I believe that that the idea of being fearless, that doesn't exist. I have learned, especially over the last year, that every time I have stepped outside my comfort zone, and through this podcast, we're going to be asking you or challenging you to do that. But every time I have stepped outside my comfort zone, I have grown. Whether it's a little bit, whether it's a lot, but that's the way that we grow. So certainly for me, this is stepping outside my comfort zone. So we are kind of leading by example here in doing something that is certainly a bit of a challenge, maybe for both of us, something that we really haven't done before. But we're excited to share that journey with you, and we'll be kind of sharing how part of, I think, what and maybe part of our superpower, Kim, both of us, I think, is vulnerability. And I believe that vulnerability is the truest form of courage. And so we are going to be vulnerable with you. And we believe that, and I think I'm speaking for both of us, that vulnerability is how we connect with other people. And so we want this very much to be a connection. We want this to land for you. We want you to be responding to us and letting us know that, yes, you hear, or we feel that people who are watching this feel seen, because that is our intention. And I think that's why we're doing this, is to have that real connection with the people who are watching and listening.
Yeah. I love what you just shared. And so everybody that's tuning in right now, whether you're live with us right now, whether you're going to be watching this back as a replay, know that this is just as much for you as it is also for us. And we want you to engage. We want you to type things in the comments. We want you to say, I want to know more about this, or this is the thing that is keeping me stuck right now in my life, or this is some of my story that I haven't been able to forgive myself for, whatever that might be for you. If you can find that piece of courage and step forward and share that with us, you're already starting to step forward in your life. So allow this platform to be a launching pad for you as well to move your life forward. We really want to do this together. So let's talk, Kellyanne, about some of the topics that like we met in Zoom last week and we like brainstormed on a Google Doc the amount of like ideas and things we want to talk about. And like I think we could literally be doing this forever, right?
Very
But we have
good.
so many downloads. Do you want to share some of the ideas that we're going to talk about?
Oh gosh. Okay.
Put
So
you on the spot.
yeah, exactly. You have the document, so go by memory here. So Kim and I have a bit of a different focus in our coaching, but much of it merges. And so I think a lot of the work that we've done, is definitely in line with each other. And so we're coming from a place of the things that we have had to work through, the things we continue to work through, the things that we know have been challenges for us. Those are the things we want to talk about. So we're going to talk about self-worth. That is certainly a big piece of the puzzle. We're going to talk about self-compassion. We're going to talk about Kim mentioned it just a little bit ago about forgiveness. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk a little bit about, a lot actually, about mindset, because Kim and I both are very passionate about mindset. We're going to talk about and I love the law of attraction. So that's going to be something. Kim, maybe you want to talk about some of the things that you are excited about. The
Yeah,
topic.
absolutely. And again, this list is big, but self-care is a big piece for me. Like I look at, and Kellyanne and I, in the next few episodes, we'll be talking a little bit about our own personal stories. So that will help you get to know us a bit more. But I'm going to be talking about self-care, boundaries, inner dialogue, inner critic, being able to find your voice, being able to speak about the things that are important to you, being able to stand in your power. I talk a lot about being who you are, authentically who you are, and not feeling shame about who you are, and the ways that we tend to dim ourselves down. Like we're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about our limiting beliefs, the things that hold us back. Because depending on who's listening to this podcast, there could be a mother here, there could be a business owner here. These things that we're going to talk about will feed their way into different parts of your life. I've recognized that the things that held me back in my life, which is part of my story about my self-worth, they, as much as they've been mostly healed, there's still pieces of them that are coming into my entrepreneurial journey, right? So it's going to lend to so many different audiences, and each week, each episode will have a theme that we're going to talk about, and we want you to ask questions. And that's what we'll be doing, is each episode at the end, we'll say next week we're going to talk about this. What questions do you have, so that we can bring that information forward. And the time's going to fly by super fast, but depending on whether you're watching us right now or you're catching us in the future, everything will be put on our YouTube channel, because that's a really great space for you to catch up with episodes that you've missed, versus trying to surf through the Facebook feed, right? Because that's an endless journey in itself. So we're really, really excited to have you along with us.
And we know that for us, the importance of talking about all of these things is because this is a never ending journey. This is, and when I talk to people about the work, what I call the work, it's a daily practice. So whether you are at the beginning of your journey, or you have been working and self-development, maybe you're farther along in your journey, wherever you are, we believe that there are going to be things that you hear that are going to just help you maybe to take that next step. So we encourage you to watch as many episodes and to follow us along with as many of the shows, because each is going to be quite different, but in a lot of ways they're going to mesh together, because we are talking about being our best selves. That's what really this is all about. It's how can Kim and I are on that journey, and how can you be your best self? Because the one thing that we know is that when you are your best self, you send out huge ripple effects into your world. I watch, and I was just on at a retreat this weekend, and I watched as some of the women who are quite far along on their journey, and they had their daughters with them. And I loved how when you are operating in a new paradigm, a new belief system, your your beliefs filter down to your children, to your, for me now it's my grandchildren, to your friends, to your spouse, to your family, all of, so when you make yourself better, you make everything in your life better and everyone in your life better. And that's one of the reasons why we share, is we know that, yeah, maybe we're touching one person with what we say, but that one person has a whole big pool to ripple through.
Yeah, I love that. And that makes me also say that the only person that we are responsible for is ourselves, right? Like, I think so many people, it's challenging when you're on a journey of growth and personal growth. You're uplifting yourself, your vibration is higher, but the people around you are not necessarily there. And it's hard because it's not like you're judging them, but you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much more opportunity for you in your life. But we can't, as much as so many of us try to change someone else, we can't. It's up to that person. But by leading by example and by being yourself and not doing so quietly, but like standing in your truth. Like I look at it in this home. I'll just share the story really quickly. I was up in my office one day and I heard my husband and my daughter talking downstairs about something. And I heard my husband say, just do what your mother does and manifest it, right? It was like the best, right? Like, he's 12 years older than me. He doesn't quite get what I do, but he's like, you do you, right? It's making you happy. And we've the people in my home have definitely improved because of the way I've improved myself, right? Like, it is what you said, it is that leading by example and doing your own personal work that is not easy, but it inspires other people to seek. And it's like they might not tell you right away, but they're watching and they're like listening. Because I remember somebody saying to me one time, like, I don't know what it is about you, but I like feel better around you, right? And it is that feeling of like there's an energy there and I don't know what it is, but I want more of that. So we're gonna talk about it all in here, and we're so excited. So do you have anything else you want to add, Kellyanne?
Um, I think that I'm just really excited about this collaboration between you and about sharing um, just some of our some of the things that have worked for us, some of the things that have changed our lives. And I think that's what I'm most excited about, I think, is that I have been able to transform my life, and I'll tell you a bit about my story on another episode, but I have been able to transform my life, and I know it's so possible for everybody. And I just want to share those possibilities with people.
So good. So we'll wrap it up then, and I think we nominated you to go next week. So I think you'll be sharing your story next week. So next week's episode, yes, we'll drop in some goodness, but you're going to get to know Kellyanne on another level, because sometimes we look at people and we're like, well, I can never do what she's doing, right? Or, you don't know my past, and, we're not the same. We all have our own stories that people are not aware of, our own challenges that we're potentially living with right now. And this is what we're going to talk about. There's no hiding. So
Mhm.
next week, please join us. It will be every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We will be live here on Facebook, and we encourage you to tune in. If you can't tune in, catch those replays after. And we thank you so much. We'll drop into the comments afterwards and engage with anybody who's chatted us in there. And Kellyanne, thank you for our great first episode.
Thank you, Kim, and everybody have an amazing day.
Take care. Bye, everyone.